Hello, welcome to another 2021 DLFF Film Festival Q&A with cast and crew. We are so happy to have cast and crew of one of our features, Feartown, USA. I'll have them tell you a little bit about it. Check this out. You know, we're so happy to have features at our festival, and they're going to be online for free May 28th through May 29th. You could links available starting at noon on the 28th, and they expire at 10 p.m. on the 29th. So you gotta start watching this film, if I recall correctly, on the 29th around 8:03 p.m. or you're gonna never know the ending. Okay, so let's start with Brandon, the man of the hour. Brandon, you were a director, writer, producer. Did you do Crafty too, or just wondering?
This one did just about everything on this one, yeah. Right. Me and my partner, Ray Ali, we did basically the two of us from start to finish crafted the script, did all the behind the scenes stuff, and I ended up editing it also.
Oh, you're the editor too. Yeah, great. So tell us
Not
about
by choice, by necessity.
And so the night before you were Googling YouTube on how to edit, right?
Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of YouTube tutorial that went into the editing of this one.
Actually, I have zero tech ability, and everything I learn on YouTube. And what's interesting is like these people are monetized, you know how to change fonts, I don't get it. But anyways, so Brandon, tell us about the idea behind Feartown, USA.
Well, I've been wanting to make a movie for as long as I can remember. I mean, I think I started seriously trying to make a feature around 2000. And that's when DV cameras, for mini DVs came out, or like the GL1. We got one of those. Let's try it. We shot a bunch of shorts to try to get practice. So let's make a movie. And it kept falling apart. And so finally, fuck it, this is never going to happen. I quit. Then a few years later, me and my wife moved to New York. When I moved to New York, I started taking classes at the Upright Citizens Brigade. And when I was there, I started meeting people. I met a lot of friends, started working with, so I did a lot of sketch. Did sketch for a few years. And it was probably, I guess, 2012. I'd done a lot of sketch. I wanted to do something more. I was like, well, let's go back to trying to make maybe a movie. And me and my friend, Ray, were like, well, let's start. Maybe we should do a short. So we want something besides just sketches. So, or short, or like internet videos. Let's try to do something a little more serious. And that grew into, I think we might be able to do a full feature if we try, if we segment. The reason why we have such like a big ensemble, I didn't think we'd ever finish it. There's no way we'll get the whole thing done. But since it's like a bunch of shorts put together, if we get one storyline done, we can make a 20-minute short. At least we have something. We won't have nothing to show for it if we devote all our time to this. But yeah, we started working. I think we can pull this off. And we started, we knew a ton of actors from being around UCB. Had access to, I have not very little technical skill. We had no money, but we had access to almost a limitless number of funny actors. And so we kind of started getting the idea together that I reached out, like Mark contributed some writing to it. So did Sam Nerisi. Pat had the only scene that we got cut is the scene that Pat wrote. But a few other people contributed writing to, like Mark and his friend Dan wrote like almost 60 pages worth of the script. We didn't use any of it really. We used like one thing, but it helped us guide. It's the signature thing where they do the best friend's oath. That's from a bit that Mark used to do on stage that he wrote with Dan, and everybody loves that one. It's like that, but I like that because when we were trying to write their characters for them, it helped us understand who they were and helped us structure. We took some of their stuff, but we helped build it into the rest of the script. And then once we got the script together, which took a few months, we spent a lot of time on the script, did a few practice reads, and then we started reaching out to people to be in it. And again, another reason why we tried to do it as an ensemble, that way access, we couldn't really pay anybody. It was just favors and friends having fun. People didn't have to be on set. Most people didn't have to be on set more than like 2 days because there's so many people. I mean, Mark had to be on the most. Mark and his crew, and probably Dana had to be on more there, and Pat maybe a little bit. They had slightly bigger roles, but most everybody else was like in and out like 1 day or 2 days.
It's so interesting to hear the process because I would not have guessed that that's how it came together. Like it seemed like it would have been a very traditional path. So it was really interesting to hear all that. So So how close would you say the final edit to the script, the final script was?
Oh, it's pretty close. The only difference, I said we cut one scene. There's only one scene that we cut because we couldn't do it. The scene that we had a scene which ended up making a short out of, where the killer takes a detour to go do stand-up comedy, but we do it all through his POV. So we still don't know who the killer is. We just see him doing like threatening people on stage and making like super like murderous stand-up comedy. We cut that scene, and the scene where the two bullies get killed, the two like 80s style bullies. We had a lot of different versions of that, but then at the end, we'd been filming for a long time, and now it's getting near the end. We kind of, what can we do easily? Like, we had a much longer involved scene where they get chased through the woods, but we have the killer has a camera POV on them, so it's like a found footage thing, and they're naked, and it's like a long drawn out scene that we were gonna film, and it's about the only thing that I just like, yeah, this is gonna be too much. Let's just cut it down. And instead, because we had a bunch of other, then the next thing we're going to do is the scene we currently have where they go into the room, they think they're having sex with the passed out girl, but it's really the killer. And we were going to do that in the dark, but we were going to get dildos with they were going to have glow in the dark condoms. So all we saw was glowing dicks moving around, and they were going to have their dicks getting cut off, but we could not get the dicks to glow on camera. We couldn't get it to show up on camera.
If I had $1 for every time, yeah, if I had $1 for every time I couldn't get the glow in the dark dildo dicks to glow,
I thought it'd be the easiest thing, and we couldn't do it. So like, all right, it'll just be in the dark with just dialogue. But other than that, most everything is like the script, other than shorter. We did cut things down a lot because the scenes were a lot longer in the script, and and they were funny, but it was like, yeah, you don't want like 100-minute long comedy, especially this type of comedy. So we kept cutting it down and down.
I think it was a good call that you actually edited it, because I think that's one of the things with comedy, and that's one of the things with independent films, with sketch for sure. Like, you get funny people in a room, and it's going to be funny, and there's nothing wrong with having a lot of laughs, but you have to make choices. And it's hard when everything is so funny, because otherwise it's just too much, and you lose the momentum of real life in a real film,
Yeah, I mean, there's stuff to lose, like the scene with Amber Nelson where she's drunkenly hitting on the two guys. She's improvising all that, and there was like a 15-minute cut of that. Like, well, I can't. That's probably the biggest loss, because she did so much funny things. They couldn't keep a straight face during it. And people blew a lot of takes on it, but that's the one that probably got cut down the most, that we lost a lot of like real gold, I think.
Yeah, well, that'll be on the DVD extras, and you can charge an extra $5. Okay.
Criterion
edition. Yeah. With my upper right, Marcus, tell us about your role, how you got involved in the project, and who cuts your hair?
Believe it or not, I don't cut it myself anymore. I actually go to get it done, which is a little weird for me, because I don't know that I deserve it, but here we are. I played the role of Amazing Ralph, which I think is the role I was destined to play, because that is my grandfather's name, Amazing. And so I think that it really, it worked out. I worked with Brandon doing sketch, and so I was just one of the people that kind of got called in. I was probably the only one who could believably pull off somebody who might be somebody who would be a paid performer amongst all of the people who are supposed to be in the show. And so thus I was the magician. So and it was great. It was super fun. It's a nice way to be there to kind of help whether it's further the plot or kind of be there to kind of set up some other people's jokes, because that's what I was there doing mostly, and it was great.
Well, thanks. I actually really do like your hair. That's why I asked.
Thank you.
About your hair. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Hey, Patrick, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Ray.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your role and how you got involved.
In 2012, which was the year before we shot Fear Town, I was living in Philadelphia and coming up to New York on the weekends to take sketch comedy writing classes that Brandon was teaching, and I was coming up with guys who were in my my sketch group, including Billy there, and our friends Rob and Sam, who also ended up in Feartown. And Brandon just said, "Hey, I'm gonna shoot a movie, and I like you guys. Do you want to be in it?" And we said, "Sure." And then kind of I moved to New York around the same time that we started shooting Fear Town, and as luck would have it, in the entire giant city of New York, I ended up in the same building as Mark. Mark and I were one floor apart in a Harlem apartment on
Wait, but did you
127th
guys
Street.
know each other before that?
We had met because of Brandon's class. So the way that the classes are structured is at the end of your third level class, there's a show in the theater consisting of sketches written by the students, and the teacher gets performers that they know to act in the show. And Mark was one of the performers who acted in the show that had some of my material in it. So I met Mark that way. And then we hung out on set a bunch, and then ran into him in the hallway outside the elevator, and we were like, what the fuck?
I mean, I don't know. Mark, were you legitimately living there, or were you just so impressed with the material that you changed your whole life?
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I often make humongous life changes in response to material that I respond well to. So that's a good guess. But no, Pat, I lived there with Dan, who was in my sketch group with me. And I'm assuming you want to know the same thing about me that you just asked, Pat. So I'm going to start answering.
Actually, I don't. I want to know who does your wardrobe.
Who does my wardrobe? I bought this shirt at a thrift store, actually a record store just down the street.
Oh, is it truly vintage? Is it really vintage or no?
I have no clue. I mean, it doesn't say the year it was made. It feels like it's not over 16 years old, but I want to, for the sake of this panel, I'll say, yes, bitch, it's vintage.
So I assume
I'm allowed to say that word.
I assume you. Well, we just lost the PG-13 crowd. So I assume you just got roped into it because you were just at the UCB with everyone else, and kind of this is a very incestuous cast and crew, I can tell.
Yeah, I mean, I had worked with Brandon a lot. Brandon had cast me in some shows after I was in his class, and then I had a sketch comedy group called Kingmaker, and that the four of us in the van were based off of the four of us in our sketch group. But then two of Miles and Andrew left New York and quit comedy forever. So we recast their roles. So,
well,
and I think,
wait till
Brandon, I feel like
I bet they're sorry now.
I was gonna say, wait till after this festival, they're going to.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. And I do feel like, Brandon alluded to this. I think I worked on this movie for a total of 9 years. That's how, and my favorite scene to shoot was the part where we were all on our knees with bags over our heads, and it took the entire day for some reason.
Nice. And finally, Billy Bob, you were part of this crew as well through UCB.
Yeah, Pat. I'm one of the dudes with Pat who came up from Philly every weekend, and then Bassam asked us. I was in a sketch group with Mark too. Oh, my finger just disappeared. Hold on, there we go. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was before or after. I'm terrible with time, so I don't know.
Those were all after. I think everybody
was after.
Everybody met on Fear Town to do
right.
the sketch show. Yeah.
All the other stuff. Yeah.
No, that's right, because Georgia worked on Fear Town, and that's how we met.
Yeah, that's what it was. I feel like, were we in a Hitler sketch? I feel like Bassam had a Hitler sketch or something.
Yeah, yes. we were in a Hitler sketch.
Which Hitler sketch?
I think that we definitely
Wait, so-
played
Yeah.
So Billy Bob, maybe
Anyway,
you
yeah.
can answer a more general question I have. So what is going on with UCB in New York now? Is it gone?
I'm the worst one to ask about this. I think it
Yeah,
I think
is.
it crashed and burned, I think. And now
Yeah.
there's like
It's gone
like
forever?
other people who are picking at the remnants to try and start their own thing. I don't know. The scraps. All the casting scraps. I don't know. Brandon?
Ray, you're muted.
You're muted, right?
So Brandon, you were teaching there.
Yeah.
So you have the inside scoop.
Yeah,
It's
well,
gone,
it's
right?
not. It's gone in New York. There's still a theater in LA. I don't know what's going on with the physical theater, but now everything's gone online. Like I still teach. I just teach online.
Oh, okay.
We still exist online. Yeah.
Under the UCB banner. Oh, so that's the way it's going to be for the time being.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they do have an LA, a physical theater in LA, but I don't know, when things can open up or how that's going to work. But everything's been online for now. Yeah.
So the newest UCB that they built in Hollywood, that apparently got sold. At least that's what I read in the trade papers. And so they maintained the smaller one on Franklin, which is like the old west side location, on was it 28th or whatever. So that's still functioning but not open.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I hope it comes back, in some form or another, Great. So thanks so much. I'm really excited to learn about Feartown and just how disciplined you all were in getting this shoot done so quickly. I just feel like in lesser hands, it could have taken 20 years, so. But anyways, thanks so much. Feartown USA, it's the comedy horror feature being featured at the 2021 DLFF Film Festival, May 28th, noon Pacific time through May 29th, 10 p.m. It's going to be free, so check it out.
Worth every
Thanks so much.
penny.